It's time for 4K for you, me, them, everyone. Can you dig it? I hope so. With me, I hope you can. With me is Mr. Valliant Renegade. How you doing?
Oh, I can dig it. Good to be back live at 5. How's everybody doing?
Hopefully well. We also have with us Greg of FanZcene. How you doing?
Doing good. How you guys doing tonight?
The best I can.
All right.
And they ain't getting no more out of me. But welcome everybody to 4K for you, where we talk about all things physical media. Sometimes just outside of the realm, as long as it falls within the 4K area. Hey, yes, and Runner's in the house. You're the one I have to blame for that frickin' Raptor Twitter. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. But anyway, yeah, we got some new release news. We got some rumors, and we got an actual story to discuss today. So Let's not waste any time at all. Greg, what do you got for new releases and rumor news for us?
All right, let's go into some. We got a couple reissues for some people who may have missed some titles. It looks like the Spider-Man No Way Home Stillbook is getting a reissue. And
yes.
And also Last Action Hero, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and Gattaca are getting 4K Stillbook reissues. And I'm
missed
not
out
sure
on those. Yeah,
if you missed out on those, I'm thinking about getting the Stillbook for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I just love that movie.
I ended up getting the fold out that had like the record and a bunch of other stuff with it. So I have like this big box set of it. But I did get the Spider-Man and the Last Action Hero Steelbook on 4K.
I wish I would have got the Spider-Man one because the regular release, the cover is ferocious. It's
horrible.
The
Steelbook is the better of the covers.
Yeah, it's awful. Also, we're getting a reissue of the original King Kong.
Why?
Yeah, exactly. Why? I guess, like I was thinking next year's its 90th anniversary. Maybe they'll do something special then, and they're just trying to get rid of some of what they got left over, make a quick buck.
Let's hope so.
On this.
Because I don't think it's been out of print or anything that I know of. I mean, I could be wrong, but I mean, this one's coming through an archive collection.
Warner Archive, yes. I'm trying to find the date on it.
There's nothing, as far as I know, it's just a reprint of the same one that's already out there. So
yeah, it says.
But you did say next year is the 90th anniversary. Maybe we'll get a 4K next year. I'm not sure that 4K would really add much to that affair, but I doubt the negatives even exist anymore.
Exactly. Well, yeah, I did hear. I think it was Tim Hayes said something about. He read on Blu-ray.com that there's something wrong with the negative, so it may not get a 4K scan, but it doesn't mean they can't do something special for the 90th. So, yeah.
Darius Moonchausen sent us a super sticker. I bet it's some popcorn. It is. Thank you for that. Popcorn goes good with movies.
Heck yeah.
At the same time, if it's like an inner positive or something close to the negative, I still wouldn't mind a 4K scan. Right. That still doesn't mean that we won't gain or benefit from it. But anyway,
right.
I guess if you haven't picked it up yet, if it's been out of print, now's your shot, I guess. I mean, it's a really nice release. A lot of special features. Idea. Peter Jackson redid the spider sequence, the spider pit sequence. So it even has that as like a extra bonus. And there's a like 2 or 3 documentaries that are like 3 hours in length altogether. It's like amazing how much shit they crammed on there. So it is
True.
definitely worth it if you haven't picked it up yet. But the thing is with the archive, usually they slap a premium price on it when it's an archive collection compared to before. This was like a $6 Walmart bin Blu-ray.
Right. It was because you could just like pick it up in there at any time.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know if they've.
I mean, it is one of my
now or
favorite
what.
Blu-rays. I mean, I won't lie about that, but I'm just like, give me something new. I've already got it.
Exactly. Sadly, I don't have it on Blu-ray, so I was thinking about picking it up, and then I was like, maybe I should wait till next year.
Maybe.
Maybe just in case. I don't know.
I mean, if you have the DVD release, the anniversary release from before, that's got all the same special features on it.
Well,
But,
yeah, there we go then.
yeah, so I mean, as far as the quality upgrade, you might as well wait in that respect, probably.
Yeah,
Because I gotta imagine that they would do something anyway, but we'll see.
I would hope so.
Lady Fossalot says, "Hail all! Will you be covering Lord of the Rings commenting response going on with Amazon Prime's fantasy fanfic and YouTube comment deletion? If we do, it would probably be on the morning show or on Midnight's Edge After Dark." Lady Fossalot. On this show, we usually just talk about physical media, but I'm sure that'll come up either tomorrow on Mead or Friday on the main show. Or it could pop up in one of Andre's videos.
We can sum that up in about 4 seconds. Here we go. You ready? 1, 2, 3. It's gonna suck.
Yes.
Thank you.
Andre's actually working on an editorial right now about the recent comments from one of the showrunners about how it's not political and all this bullshit.
Yeah, sure.
Except for every bit of marketing that they have done so far.
Yeah, right?
Right. Yeah.
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 We took Tolkien and we made it better. Okay,
we know
Chiefs.
how to do it.
There's some definite word salad and word play in their comments about the whole thing.
True.
Yeah. But anyhow, we did have some more news, so continue.
Yeah.
Sorry about that, Greg.
We got a couple rumors. It looks like To Kill a Mockingbird is coming to 4K and possibly a limited edition and a standard 4K around October 11th. No other details at the moment on that.
Right.
So that's a bit of a rumor on what kind of edition we're going to get on that.
Okay.
And it looks like War Games in 4K is being rumored. Sometime in December. Heavily rumored in December.
It's been confirmed that it's a rumor.
Yes, it's been confirmed as a rumor. Possibly December something if you're looking forward to getting that. Yeah.
And speaking of release dates, I think we got a release date now for Night of the Living Dead in 4K, which will be October 4th.
Yes, October 4th.
And a couple other Criterion titles you had there.
Yes, looks like we're going to be getting Eve's Bayou as well, and Lost Highway, which I'm looking forward to. Lost Highway.
That's a Lynch film, isn't it?
Yeah, that's a David Lynch film.
I vaguely remember it. I think I've seen it.
It's got Bill Pullman in it.
I'm trying to remember. Because I think I get that one constantly mixed up with the one... Because that came out nearly the same time as Natural Born Killers, right?
Around that time. It's from the 90s.
I was going to say, because it's like, for some reason, those two movies, I keep mixing scenes from together, because I've only seen them both, like, once. And I hated Natural Born Killers.
I kind of like that movie.
I mean, I get why people would like it, but, like, seeing... The movie was not what I was expecting, and then later on hearing that Tarantino, like, disowns that movie anyway, because it's, like, not what he wrote. I'm like, well, good, because that makes sense. Because here's the thing, as I have, like, a love-hate relationship with Oliver Stone. I love, like, 2 of his movies, and I hate the rest.
I
agree with you on that.
Woody Harrelson's performance was good. I've always, something about Juliette Lewis just always bugs me. I just can't.
Well, that and the style. It was the style he used, and I mean, like the Rodney Dangerfield character and some other things just really kind of came off
like over the
raw
top.
And just not. I mean, I'm sure they were trying to do a certain thing with it, but like, but then the Lynch film I remember come out around the same time, and I think it was better, but I'm trying to see that one. I just don't remember anything from somebody, so I remember that one more or less just being forgettable. But I know it was a huge movie when it came out. I think it even got nominated for Best Picture or something like that, didn't it?
Yeah, something like I haven't seen it in a long time, but I was kind of looking forward to it. I always got it confused with the movie with Kiefer Sutherland and what's her name?
Oh, the one where she disappears or whatever.
No, it's a different one.
Oh,
It's
not The Vanishing or
not
Vanished.
The Vanishing. Okay,
not The Vanishing.
That's the one I'm thinking of. But you're thinking.
Yeah,
of
I
a
remember
different
that movie too.
Okay.
Yeah, that was
So
actually
Reese
love that movie.
Witherspoon. I think Reese Witherspoon is in it, and he's a crazy driver, and he picks her up hitchhiking, and it's like
Shit,
really
now
weird.
I vaguely remember.
Hitchhiking
Yeah.
with Reese Witherspoon. Oh, now I'm trying to.
Yeah,
think
she was
how
really
that was.
young in it. She was like
You sure it was
almost
Reese?
teenage age. It could be Drew Barrymore.
I was gonna say. I mean,
I'm trying to think of who it is, but I know
somebody
it's a
in the
young
chat will
blonde.
remember.
She's kind of famous. I just can't remember.
Somebody in the chat will remember. But
Yeah,
It wasn't The
let's move on here.
Hitchhiker, so
No.
No,
it could've
it's
been
something
that.
like Fast Getaway. Not Fast Getaway.
I know what it
that's,
is. I can see the goddamn VHS
Yeah.
cover in my head. Right?
I
Freeway.
could do it.
Thank
She's
you,
like,
two
Freeway.
guys.
There you go.
Oh.
Yes.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
who was it in it? Was that a young Reese? Was it Greasy?
No, she would have been way too young for that.
Yeah, that's what
well,
I'm thinking.
she's been acting though since she was
Yeah,
like
but no,
12,
she'd have been like 10 years old when that movie came out.
True. I was gonna say that would have been
Yeah.
way young for her.
Whoever it was a blonde in a red like mini skirt and shirt and stuff on the car.
Would have been too young for Drew too, I would think.
Yeah. know, it
Maybe
was like-
that would have been.
like
I think that was
90s.
mid-90s. I was gonna say
Mid-90s,
she would
Was
have
it
been.
that late? Okay, I
It
was
would have been
thinking
her
it was like
Poison Ivy
90.
years if it was Drew. Well, let's look it up since nobody seems
All
to.
right, that's what I was
Yeah.
just about to do.
Freeway, 1996. Okay.
Okay,
It
well,
has.
crap.
Reese Witherspoon. Greasy's in it.
Ha!
He was
Oh,
right.
well,
Yes.
shoot.
I
Okay,
was
see, I
right.
was.
Believe it or not, Brittany Murphy's in it too.
Oh,
my God.
really?
Well, that
Shit,
was
yeah.
that would have been right around the time of like Clueless.
Yeah, and
That was
would've
within
been,
a year. So Brittany
Yeah.
Murphy and all them.
Greasy
I mean,
must have barely been 18 in that. movie.
God, yeah. Well,
Because
that
she was like 14 in that one movie she did. What was it, Man in the Moon or whatever it was called? Not Man on the Moon, but Man in the Moon or something like that it was called.
Oh
I can't
yeah,
remember.
yeah. I think I know what you're
She was
talking
like
about, yeah.
14, I think, in that, and that was like 93.
that movie is just a lot
94?
later than I was thinking it was. I was thinking it was
Maybe
like the
I don't know. I'm
early
trying to
90s.
think. When was she born?
I
I mean, I know she's not too young because Greasy was actually supposed to be in Mallrats too.
Wait. When who was born?
Reese Witherspoon. She's
Uh,
not that young. She's not as young. Oh, she's older than I am. She's born in 76.
okay.
So she'd have been
Yeah.
20 years old when she made that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So she must have been a little older than the movie I'm thinking of, or that movie's older than I think it was.
Yeah.
That's probably
I
what
know-
it was.
I know she's in a movie called Deadpool, which was around in the 90s, where she goes topless. So
Not the Dirty Harry one.
no, not dirty. It's like it's spelled. It's
Another
separated
Deadpool.
different. Yeah, it's another Deadpool.
The
So-
other Deadpool.
That's like
Anyway.
late 90s too. But yes, anyways.
So what else did you
Um,
have for rumors or?
Rumors. It looks like we talked a little bit about the box set with As Good as You Get. What's that box set?
The Columbia box set. Yeah.
Columbia. It looks like the Last Picture Show is
Yep.
coming to 4K. Will probably be a part of that. So if you're
We
interested,
got
in
another
that.
title then.
Uh,
Let's see. What did we get so far? We've gotten It Happened One Night, right?
Right.
As Good as It Gets.
Good as It Gets. Last Picture
Right.
Show.
That's
Mhm.
3.
By the way, there was a movie called Freeway in 1988. I'm like, I knew I wasn't crazy. Like when they said
Oh, yeah.
Freeway, I was like, okay, I was thinking of a different one entirely. That's why I was like,
okay,
it was
that's
way
why.
That's
too
what-
young.
Yeah.
That's with Amelia
That's what
Estevez and
happens.
isn't that the one with Amelia Estevez and Rolling Stones? Oh my God, I can't think of his name.
Well, in that one you had James Russo, Billy Drago. It was kind of a
Oh,
about
yeah,
a lesser known
Now
That's a
cast.
you're
movie.
thinking of The Getaway or whatever the hell it was called.
Yeah,
yeah.
Yeah.
Where they're on like a police chase down the highway and it has like Flea from the
Yeah.
Red Hot Chili Peppers and the guy from fucking
Yeah,
Oh, that's
yeah.
with Charlie Sheen. The
Henry
Chase.
Rollins and Charlie Sheen. The Chase, that's it. Yeah.
That's The
Is that the one
Chase,
you're
yeah.
thinking of?
No, there's one with Amelia
Oh.
Estevez and I cannot believe I can't
Shit.
remember the front man for Rolling Stones. He's Mick Jagger.
Oh,
Mick
Mick Jagger. Oh, you're thinking of Free Jack.
Oh,
Yeah.
Free
Free
Jack.
Jack.
That's what it's
Yeah.
called. Free
That's
Jack.
a totally cool. That's on
Yes.
Blu-ray actually.
That's a good one.
Yeah, that was like one of those kind of
Time
time
travel
travel
movie.
things. Yeah.
Yeah.
It came out around the
Yeah.
same time as some of the other ones, like with Jean-Claude Van Damme and what was that
Yeah.
one?
Time Cop.
Time
Time
Cop.
Cop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Free
Yeah.
Jack and Time Cop. In fact,
I actually
think
have the
were same year.
soundtrack to that too.
Yeah.
Did we
That's
mention
awesome.
Motel Hell for 4K?
No,
that
we
was
did not
another
mention Motel Hell.
Okay,
That's a
so where are
rumor
we
for
at now?
4K.
Sorry.
Yeah, Motel Hell for 4K. I like that movie. It's not a bad About a little 80s horror
You
movie.
get some fritters.
Yeah. Eating people.
Yeah, and then we're getting a new special edition of the Bat. I know that was one we didn't,
Yeah,
but that's only
with,
DVD or Blu-ray.
Blu-ray
but,
from Kino Lorber, isn't that?
actually MVD.
Oh yes, MVD. Yes.
But I think Kino or somebody like that had released it prior, but
Yeah.
or maybe it was Shout. I think had released it prior. I know I've seen it, and I don't have it though, but I know it was released prior to that. But I'll probably pick up this newer one.
Yeah, me too. I probably will too. And
it's cheesy as fuck.
Yeah, it is.
It's got this big, huge, fucking fake ass bat in it.
That's the best kind, though. I love seeing that.
I know, right?
I've been trying to look for some 50 sci-fi movies here lately. But yeah, from our friends at Mill Creek, it looks like we're getting Shadowlands with Anthony Hopkins and Deborah Winger, and a movie called The Cure with Brad Renfro. I'm not real sure on that one. Joseph Mazzola.
Didn't it also have? I was gonna say, who's the other kid in it? Because it's about those two kids where he tries to find a cure for his friend's disease.
Yeah, he's got cancer or something.
Something like that. I remember seeing it on like Cinemax when I was a kid.
Yeah, I would never really care for it that much, but
it was like it was barely a movie. It's more like an after-school special kind of movie.
Yeah, pretty much.
But The Paper is coming out. That was a good one. That's got Michael.
Oh
Keaton
The Paper's coming.
Yeah,
that was coming from. Is that Mill Creek too?
That's another Mill Creek. They're doing their video title or video box, which I can't express enough how glad I am that they do that, because for some reason, whoever does their regular cover art, my God, they need to be fired, because
it's true.
It's like they're trying to make the worst possible cover art, not to sell a movie, but they put on these VHS covers to help sell them, and it's like, they didn't have that because, Lord, I the ones I have picked up, thank God.
Exactly.
Once you see the cover underneath there, you're just like, what the fuck is that?
Like, why do they do that? They give you the cool cover on the slipcase, but then like on the inside, it's like, oh, that's horrible.
It is bad.
It's so bad. But yeah, we got those
they're
coming.
stepping up their game a little bit, and I think I can't help but take a little bit. Oh, The Cure is about HIV. That's what it was about. Yeah. Somebody just.
Oh, that's what it's about.
Okay. Yeah, I remember it came out. I remember I think it got a lot of attention. That's all I remember. And then there was a few other announcements, though. Moving on. Sorry.
Yes. If you like the movie Blue Iguana, starring Dylan McDermott and Jessica Harper, that's coming from Kino Lorber on Blu-ray. No date on that. So it was directed by James Russo, who wrote and directed. Or no, it was written and directed by John Lafia, who did Child's Play 2. So I've never heard of that one, Blue Iguana. So I don't know if anybody's heard of that one.
Not offhand. I mean, I know the director, but no, I've never heard of that one.
And it looks like we're getting the second half of the Universal Classic Monsters on 4K.
Yes, this I'm a little bit excited about because we got some titles now, don't we?
Yeah, I think we're getting The Bride of Frankenstein, The Creature from the Black Lagoon, The Phantom of the Opera, and The Mummy from 1932 on the second volume. So that looks to come out October 11th.
I might actually pick that whole volume up. I don't know. I still got to pick up 2 of the other ones, though.
Yeah. And it looks like the other ones are getting, from the first volume, are getting singular releases.
Hopefully they're cheaper than the Steelbooks were, because I just couldn't justify getting the Steelbook of The Invisible Man and The Wolf Man.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe The Wolf Man, but The Invisible Man has never been one of my favorites.
I mean, I like it, but yeah.
I like it for the special effects aspect, but...
Yeah. The Wolfman's always been my favorite, and Dracula and Frankenstein. The top 3.
Me, it's more Frankenstein and Dracula, and especially The Bride of Frankenstein. Like, that's, to me, is probably
that's a really good one.
The best representation of all of them. And then maybe Lugosi's Dracula next, and then the original Frankenstein, in my book, anyway. And then maybe, like, Wolfman. Yeah. But that's just me. And the Creature, probably in there, but I can't wait for that one. That one looks like it's fun. Anything else you got for us?
The Score is one of the Paramount titles coming from Kino Lorber. That's with Robert De Niro and Edward Norton.
I'm going
to get a 4K.
Forget. I don't wear any pants.
I like that movie.
True story. I told Frank, I said, Frank Oz, I like it when you do those Muppets. He said, I'm not wearing any pants. I don't care
yes,
what you got to do.
Marlon was in it.
Yes, I
Without
forgot
any
he
pants.
was.
And that's why he's shot from the waist up for the entire film, except for I think one scene, because he wouldn't wear fucking pants.
Well, wasn't he even in a scene? Was that the movie he was in a scene like he was in a sauna or something?
Yes, I think so.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, I was like, because that was even the joke. It's like it got so bad, they just said, fuck it. Somebody build a sauna, put him in there just so we don't have to fight the pants issue.
Oh, he was a nightmare to deal with, I guess Frank said. It was just, I wonder if they'll have that commentary on there, because on that commentary on the DVD, I wonder if I still have that DVD. I remember he's talking a lot of shit that he had to deal with Brando. But I wonder if they'll take that off now that he's passed away since then. Because he was still alive when they did the commentary. Because he lived for like another year or so after this movie. Because his final movie has never actually been released.
Oh, really?
It was an animated film he did a voice over work for that's just never been finished. I can't even remember the name of it, but like, yeah. So this is actually technically his last feature film, from what I remember. But
that's crazy.
The no pants factor, yes.
Okay. It's been a while since I've seen that one, but Valiant liked it, so he's got
yes.
the
And as
taste.
Mark points out, I pre-ordered my 40th anniversary of Poltergeist. I got the Zombie Collector's Edition, that one for that and Lost Boys, because the cover art for the both the Lost Boys
bad,
and Poltergeist are horrible. Even the Steelbook for both of them is horrible.
I know, right?
Who the fuck came? Did you see these, Valiant?
What's that?
The covers for Poltergeist and Lost Boys?
I saw the one for Lost Boys, and I'm like, that's not impressive. I did not see
No.
the one for Poltergeist.
You wouldn't know it's even Poltergeist.
Oh, God.
Yeah, it's
Is it
bad.
just is it concept art, or is it like this is the final stuff?
This is the final stuff, I guess. Well, the Steelbook is
Oh,
not
God.
is a little bit better, but it's not much better. It's like pop art with what's her face, the daughter crawling up, or it's either the wife, I can't remember, whichever one falls in the pit with the skeletons.
Oh, it's the wife.
Yeah, the wife. Okay, so it's like an image of the wife trying to crawl out of the water and from the perspective of the skulls. So
Yeah, it's bad.
all right, okay. But here's what the other main one looks like. This is why I'm glad I ordered the Zabi one, because the Zabi one I think has at least the original cover on it. This is the cover for the regular Blu-ray.
Yeah. You know what's sad? It looks like the remake cover.
It does.
God.
Somebody said it
used-
looked like the Thing.
I don't understand why they just cannot use the original poster art for this kind of stuff.
Exactly. I mean, look
The
at the
original
Fright Night
poster
one.
art is fucking iconic as fuck.
That's what I'm saying. Why? Is it a licensing issue? I mean, what's the deal here?
I don't know. I have no idea, because the Zabi one does have the original art on it, and then on the back of the Steelbook is the original art with Carol Ann touching the TV.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, why not just use that? That is one of the more iconic posters of the 80s that isn't, art. Right?
Yeah,
That
this
isn't
this
painted.
thing doesn't tell me anything. That doesn't even look like Craig Nelson.
It doesn't at
It
all,
doesn't.
no.
That's why
I'm
when
pretty
I
sure
saw
that's
that,
not him, probably.
that's why I said when I saw it, I thought it was the guy from the remake who was pretending to be the psychic guy that was walking through.
Well, part of the problem is they have to, due to sensitivity these days, they might have to edit out the little person in the film and replace her with an animatronic or digitally rendered, because that's what you got to do with Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs.
Zelda's my favorite part.
Yeah, I know, but that's how it is. That's just how it is now. We can't.
Carol Ann.
Peter Dinklage got angry.
Oh, fuck it. He'll want to be in the movie.
Yeah.
I
Put
can
him in a
play
dress
that.
and some fake boobs and make him say Carol Ann.
Carol
He'd do
Ann.
it probably.
Go towards the light, Carol Ann.
Speaking of like 40th anniversaries and classics, I don't know why they're going to redo this, but it looks like E.T. is getting another 4K 40th anniversary release around October.
Well, they're doing that because it's getting released in IMAX as well.
I know,
Yeah.
and I just bought the damn 4K
I
a
think it's
couple of weeks ago for Prime Day when it was $10.
I was going to say, I don't think they're adding anything to it, Valiant,
Is it a
it's just-
remaster or is it the same cut?
Nah, it's just the same Blu-ray as far as
New
Yeah, I think
packaging.
that-
All right.
Yeah, I think they're just slapping 40 on there because this is the 40th.
unless I hear something different, I'll let you know because
Well, we'll
Yeah,
know
I-
as we get closer,
yeah.
I'm sure.
the 4K just came out like it was one of my first 4Ks I bought, but
It's not that
I mean,
old. Yeah.
it's not that old. No, it's only like 2-3 years old, if that. Man, maybe a couple more than that, but if that, and I would assume so.
Yeah.
But I'm curious what they'll do with Jaws because that's actually getting it gotten a 3D conversion.
Oh, really?
Did you guys see that?
I did not
Jaws
see
is
that one.
coming back to IMAX and Real D 3D this September, this Labor Day.
Oh,
Huh.
fun.
That'd be
Oh, I'm
a
gonna
fun
go see
watch,
that
but I
fucker
didn't
like
see
10
it.
fucking
Yeah.
times. Yeah, I'm gonna go see it in
That's a
IMAX
great
and 3D for that fucking matter.
I can't
I'd
believe
like
they
to
put
see it
that
in
out
IMAX.
4th of July weekend.
I know that doesn't make no sense.
Yeah,
Well,
Why?
well, they
I
didn't
guess
want to compete probably with the bigger
yeah,
movies. That's why.
I guess they figure September ain't nothing going on.
Watch this
so-
motherfucker be the #1 movie of Labor Day weekend. That would be
Probably.
amazing. as
That
shit.
would be-
All the
that would be
beaches are
awesome.
open this Labor Day.
There's not. Yeah, those beaches will be open on the 4th of July.
That's right.
Exactly. They're going to edit it out and say Labor Day this time.
I want these pain-happy bastards caught and hung up by their Buster
Buster
Browns.
Browns. Sick vandalism. That's what it is.
Mm-hmm. That's such a great movie.
You'd like to prove that, wouldn't you? Get your picture in the National Geographic.
Oh, this is a good movie.
They're all gonna die.
Yeah.
I fucking love that
I love
movie.
it.
Which is weird because I just watched it the other night and then I found that out. I'm like, well, that's cool, but because usually I try to watch it every summer and I missed it for the 4th of July weekend this year. So spoilers later on, Greg. We're gonna be talking Jaws.
That's fun.
So yeah, moving on. Was there anything left before we get into our
The
main
Invaders
topic?
from Mars, the 4K.
The original.
The original, which I'm actually looking forward to getting on 4K. And from what I understand, the process on this 4K was one of the hardest to redo for this film. But it's coming, looks like it's shipping September 26th is when it'll be out.
I think
So, yeah. Yeah, from Ignite Films. So I've never heard of Ignite Films before, but I'm looking forward to getting this one.
Yeah, the modern version would be hung up by their Crocs, yes. All right. What
Yeah, I
else
think
was
that's
there? Is
about
that it?
it.
Okay. I think that was.
The Usual Suspects is coming from Kino.
I think we
On
had
4K.
talked about
Did
that
we
one.
talk
Yeah,
about that
we
one?
had talked about that one.
But I don't know if we had a date yet for it.
Right.
But,
It was in the
it
rumor
looks,
department last time, if I'm not mistaken.
looks like November 8th.
oh, cool. All right. So
All right,
that's
well,
a
I'm
little
gonna be
bit more.
down for that.
Yeah,
And the Bug
and-
Man, the big Bug Man, that was the Marlon Brando feature. Thank you for that, North Fairfax. He sent it to me in private.
I
So
think
yeah,
the-
let's get into this main topic today. James
Indeed.
Cameron looks like he's working on releasing a 4K Blu-ray of Avatar, which we've talked about before, and he's already released, I believe, Titanic in 4K, but we may be getting another version. Isn't that right, Val?
Yes.
Seems to be. I don't know. Do we have a 4K Titanic?
I'm like 90% sure it's already been released on 4K because I think it got released the same time as Top Gun.
Did it? I
Okay.
don't
For some
remember.
fucking
But-
reason, I remember those two getting released the same time.
It may have, but that's one of those movies that I just really was never that enamored with. So
Nah, I didn't bother. And I got
yeah.
the 3D version so dirt cheap. That's the only reason I bought it. I literally got it for like $6.99. It was on clearance.
Yeah,
Yeah, I was never really a fan of Titanic myself.
I don't see any 4K listing, but then again,
I could be wrong then. I
Yeah.
apologize if I'm wrong.
I don't.
No, I guess not. Uncle Remus also says that. I guess it hadn't.
Oh,
I
wait,
thought
what
it
is
had.
this? No, wait, I do see one. No, it just says no release date.
Oh, okay. So it never got released.
So
yet.
it's
Okay.
they have cover art, like it looks legit, but it just there's nothing. It was probably just in the rumor mill.
Yeah, I was gonna
so-
say I swore it got released back when, but I guess not. I was wrong. I apologize. But anyway, so
No,
what's
that's fine.
going on here with this article that I come across the other day?
Well, do we want to read through it?
Go ahead if you want to, Valiant.
All right. So this is from What Hi-Fi, which for those of you who don't know, I'm actually pretty familiar with this website. They do a lot of like high-end audio video reviews. They have for many years, And they're a publication that I've been following since I've been getting. They've had print editions years ago. So they talked about this. This is James Cameron talking about high frame rate remasters. Yay! So let's dive into this. We've talked about high frame rate here on the show before, and not terribly big fans. There doesn't seem to be any good reason why to do this, except that James Cameron always seems to have to find some sort of quirk to put his movies into. So this is where we are, but let's see what we have to say. From the article, filmmaking pioneer James Cameron is set to remaster two of his most iconic titles. Both Titanic and Avatar are set to be released in 4K HDR with high frame rate, with a full theatrical run to accompany the remastered titles. Lightstorm Entertainment, the production company owned by Cameron, is utilizing Pixelworks' TrueCut motion platform to achieve these visual upgrades. Yeah. Although no specs have yet been released as to what the higher refresh rate we could see for these titles might be. With the standard cinematic refresh rate sitting at 24 FPS, this higher refresh rate could either refer to 48, notably used by Peter Jackson for the Hobbit trilogy, 60 FPS, or even 120, most recently used in Ang Lee's Gemini Man. High frame rate has its benefits when it comes to visual fidelity, helping to reduce judder and provide smoother motion to subjects on the screen. What's more, HDR can accentuate juddery subjects, and with practically every TV worth buying coming with HDR as a standard these days, high frame rate HFR might have some unexplored benefits when it comes to home cinema use. Pixelworks' TrueCut Motion allows filmmakers to adjust their films at a granular level, changing motion blur and frame rates on a scene-by-scene basis. This should hopefully enhance the cinematic experience without opening the door to the dreaded soap opera effect. Keyword, hopefully. With Avatar: The Way of Water finally releasing this year, over 13 years after the original, this could be the perfect excuse to rewatch the first movie in preparation for the long-awaited sequel. It was, and still is, a revolution in visual effects, so it's exciting to see where it can be taken further, although it is worth noting that these high refresh rate films often received mixed reactions due to how audiences respond to faster and smoother motion. Titanic is
I like
also
that hedge there, mixed my ass.
Yeah, well, and the rest of it's just puff, so we can skip that part. But the bottom line is exactly what they said. Now, I do find there's some interesting things in here referring to, this new technique is what they seem to be saying, seems to allow them to achieve the higher frame rate advantages, quote unquote, without getting the soap opera effect where they can do a lot of changing frame by frame. Obviously, this is a very labor-intensive, time-intensive, and incredibly costly process. Now, Titanic and Avatar. I want to say this, and then I want you guys to chime in and give me your thoughts. But I went back and I dug into this. Of course, now, Titanic was 1997.
Now it's shot on film.
Shot on film, yes. So that's going to have... This process is going to have a very different impact than Avatar. Avatar, every camera they used for that film, those were, at the time, state-of-the-art Sony digital cameras.
But did they shoot at high frame rate?
They did not. Well, to my knowledge, no.
I didn't think so.
But understand that these were not 4K, because there was no 4K. These were 1080p high-definition Sony digital cameras.
Episode 2 and 3 of Star Wars were filmed digitally. Right. And they'll even though there is 4K versions of them, they'll forever be up-converted from 2K because they were shot in 1080i.
Right. That was the native resolution for that. So I don't know what kind of impact, because honestly, to my knowledge, like you said, with the exception of what you just mentioned with the Star Wars prequels, I don't know if we've had another film that was of this scale that has this much CGI that was shot with these Sony high-definition digital cameras for a major motion picture.
Not until you get to The Hobbit, I don't think. And at that point, then I think they were a little bit They actually had the cameras for the high frame rate.
Well, but they also had The Hobbit was also shot with the early Arri Alexas.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah, that was a totally different.
And those were what? Those were at least 2K DCI, if not 4K.
I think they were 4K or 5K.
I think they were too. Yeah. So I mean, that again, totally different dynamic than.
Because weren't those the same cameras they used on Civil War, or something like that at that same time? And I think those were 5K cameras.
Something
but then
like
the movie got up converted from 2K, but go figure. But still, point being, like, here's my response to this, because I was thinking about this a lot in the last day or so when I brought this to your guys' attention. You're right. Avatar is going to be the least affected, and he probably has already done Avatar for the theatrical cut in the high frame rate. Mm-hmm. So the scenes that are all CGI, they might look a little bit better, but as far as I don't see how they're going to get away from that motion smooth look. You can't without, if you don't have motion blur, if you don't have the 24 frame effect, it's not gonna look like a fucking soap opera or a baseball game. Yeah, it's not gonna look right.
That's why film looks like film. Motion
exactly.
Now, again, I reiterate, for some people, the Avatar thing, it might work out for them fine. I personally have zero investment in it, but I feel bad for anybody who's a fan of that, and that may affect their viewing. Because at this point, I'm just like, why don't you just let people turn the motion smooth on and let them do it themselves? Because this is the other thing where I feel like James Cameron has fucking lost it.
Yeah.
He is the only goddamn director in Hollywood right now who's all in favor of this motion smoothness, high frame rate shit. You know, like Peter Jackson dabbled in it, and I'll give him a pass on it because at that time when he did it, nobody else had. Right? He was trying something new, didn't work out. They tried it again with Gemini Man, didn't work out. You would think by this point James Cameron would take note, but these two this gimmick did not work out already before. But he's fucking insane. This is not like 3D. 3D was a little different. The problem was when you picked up Avatar and did 3D. Unless you were somebody who was lucky enough to be in one of the few converted theaters back in the day that showed Jaws 3D, Friday the 13th 3D, something like that back in the day where they actually had the polarized glasses, you saw it in red and blue 3D in anaglyph. So he went to a point where most people were used to seeing movies in 3D with the blue and red anaglyph to bringing back the actual polarized 3D, which was not a new technology. It is as old. In fact, we just talked about the Creature from the Black Lagoon earlier. That movie, even though it's black and white, was shot in polarized 3D, right? Like the version I have on my Blu-ray, I don't have to watch with red and blue glasses. That's my point. So all he did was rebring back this old technology, and it worked. Why? Because people hadn't seen that. Our generation had not been able to experience that unless you were one of those few people who got to see it in maybe 7 theaters that probably converted back in the day for Jaws 3 and Friday the 13th and shit like that.
Mm-hmm.
Because most people saw it with the red and blue glasses. Just like when I saw Freddy's Dead in the theater, they handed me a pair of red and blue glasses for the end.
Yep.
Right?
I remember that.
Yeah. So it's not like that was the whole thing. It's like, oh my God, I'm seeing crystal clear images in 3D. And unless you suffered from motion sickness or you're the 1 in 10 people who can't see that kind of 3D, you got your fucking socks rocked because that was something you'd never fucking seen before. Guess what, James? We've been seeing this shit for 20 plus years now. Every single Marvel movie's been in 3D. The Hobbit was in 3D. All these bigger movies have been in 3D. Nobody gives a shit about 3D. I'm literally the only person on the planet who seems to give a shit about 3D anymore still.
You are.
Right? I've accepted that fact. Besides me and James. And I don't even understand him anymore. I'm like, dude, let it go. Right? It has been oversaturated. When I have like 200 some 3D Blu-rays, that's too many.
Well, the other thing they bring up in this article, you're talking about the high frame rate, and they're sitting there debating what might the high frame rate be. In my mind, there are only, of the list they gave, 24, 48, 60, and 120. You have to throw 48 out. And the reason is, and I know we've had this conversation here on the show before, but just for those of us who are out there that may be new to this, I'll kind of go through the brief version of this. Televisions, because in America we have a 60 hertz power supply on everything, because our electricity grid runs on a 60 hertz refresh rate. When we used to do that with playing DVDs, like when DVDs first came out and we got that, oh my God, we got the actual 24 frames. It wasn't converted to 30. Well, the television still had to convert it to 30 because 24 was not equally divisible into 60. So you had that 3-2 pull-down effect. Basically, the DVD player, the TV had to invent frames that weren't there to make that happen. Over time, this is why all the TVs you're buying now have 120 hertz power supplies. You see these monitors or these television sets that have 120 hertz refresh rates. That is because 120 hertz is both equally divisible by 30 FPS or 30 frames per second, which is basic cable, broadcast television, stuff like that. And it's also equally divisible by 24. So when you play your 24 FPS original frame rate Blu-ray or 4K disc, the TV can play it as it is without having to interpolate additional frames to make up for the variance in the refresh rate.
And it makes a huge difference, yeah.
Yes, and it does. So, in other words, if they're making these for home video, 48 is not equally divisible into 120. So if he does that, that would be immensely stupid. So it either has to stay with 24, which they've already said, well, that ain't happening. So now you've got 60, and 60 is not equally divisible by 24. So that really only leaves 120 hertz. Is that really where he's going with this?
I don't know.
Because it just seems bizarre at this point. I'll put it this way. I am morbidly curious to see what this is really going to look like. I might buy a copy just to check it out.
That's the thing is, I mean, like maybe Avatar will be really cool looking or something nifty about that, but Titanic's going to look like a fucking mess.
Titanic will not work because it's film.
It's going to look like a damn soap opera.
Yeah.
How else do you expect this to work, James? I don't understand.
Why would you go to a high frame rate and then in order to soften the soap opera effect, you basically have to artificially add motion blur back in, which makes the whole exercise pointless.
I know, right? That's exactly what I was fucking thinking, VR.
I was
doing the math. I was literally that meme, Julia Roberts meme with all the fucking things going around in your face, like trying to figure out the math on this thing. It's like, dude, you're literally getting yourself back around to where you started.
Yeah. That's it. I mean, here's the thing. Now, obviously, I have never seen this. I have no idea how this technology works. I mean, except for like this particular company doing this particular process. I'm curious. I'll definitely check it out. I wish there was a sample out there, but of course the problem is there wouldn't be any sample out there we could look at online that would give an honest representation because that wouldn't be, you wouldn't be streaming it in the proper frame rate.
True. But not only that,
you're going to have to get the disc and see what happens.
Well, and here's another thing is the only example we can kind of go by is here. Here's where I'm at with this. I have yet to see an up-converted 4K or 2K anything from a lower quality image that convinces me that we're at this place yet where any of this shit should be possible.
Yeah.
Without major fucking CGI work or something, right? Like, I just don't understand. And again,
will
like
this even make it down to the physical media? That's what I'm unclear
That's my
on.
other question is I don't even understand. Maybe 4K, because I think I read somewhere that 4K is capable of doing up to 60.
4K 60 is what you can slam through HDMI 2.1.
Yeah.
You can't go beyond that. So that's what I'm saying. If they smash this into a 60 FPS, here's the other problem. Titanic and Avatar are not short films. And if you're going to change the frame rate from 24 FPS as it was shot up to 60,
you're going to basically double the film size or the file size. Yeah.
2.5 times the. So you're either going to have to compress the data rate, the bit rate of the disc to
which
fit.
Again takes you right back to where you were.
I know. Or, and I'm not even shitting you. You're going to have to watch Avatar on 3 Blu-rays or 3 4K discs. Because
probably.
I mean, look at Lord of the Rings 4K, right? The extended editions. You got 2 discs for each movie. That's in 4K 24p. If we're talking about Avatar, which is also about 3 hours long, and we're talking about 4K 60, that's 2.5 times.
I'm assuming he's going to do the extended cut. I bet you $5 it's going to be the extended cut.
You're going to be watching one Avatar movie across 3 discs.
You're not wrong.
At least.
I bet you're right.
Now, see, this worries me because he did say he finished the scan of the Abyss a while back.
Oh, fucker's probably fucking with that in 60 frames per second.
So
too, or
yeah,
some
he
shit.
said he
I
finished
hope
that for
not.
Disney, and that will be the new when it starts. Whenever they roll it out.
But he talked about
Blu-ray
that at the end of
4K.
last year, and I'll put
Oh,
it this
yeah.
way: I think he would have said something about that in that interview where he said, "Hey, we just finished
That's
the
true.
Abyss," but he didn't
I
say
think
anything
he's
about.
saving that for when Avatar 2 comes out on Blu-ray.
Just give me 24 FPS like you shot it in, you some bitch.
That's what I say.
Please.
Here's the other thing is, yes, Blarbful, all his remasters suck. Because
Mhm.
technically the only one we've gotten out of him that he was Terminator 2 was the only one he oversaw. Because that's the other problem we have for those who may be new to the game here. One of the reasons and one of the more common questions we get here is when are we getting this James Cameron film? When are we getting that James Cameron film? The answer, sadly, is always whenever he gets around to it. Because he, outside of 2 films in his filmography that I know of, has complete control over what master is used when it is released on home video. He has to sign off on it. The only 2 films that I know of that he does not have that say over and sway over are Terminator and Titanic. But of course, since Titanic is the biggest movie of all time, Paramount will let him do whatever the fuck he wants with it whenever he wants to. But he had to sign a bunch of his rights away to get that movie made originally because the budget was going overboard. In Terminator, of course, he just didn't have that kind of sway at that time. So that's why there is a 4K master of Terminator. We just only have it in 2K for some reason. We haven't got it released in 4K yet. But that's
I just
neither
want to state for the record that you just made an overboard joke referencing Titanic, and I'm going to leave it there.
overboard. I actually got this. Just done that. But anyhow, no.
Yeah.
So like, here's where we're at. And when he did Terminator, yes, that fucker looks awful because he went and scrubbed the shit out of it. And by scrubbing it, he cleared up all kinds of resolution and detail that should have been there that is not there anymore.
But there was no
He
grain.
recolor-timed it. There was, but I don't care if there was or not. I want to see that fucking grain.
I know. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
He did it for the 3D release. Fine, do that for the 3D release. Do that in the post for the 3D release, not in the post for the main master. That's dumb. Even Top Gun. I'll tell you what, Paramount at least didn't scrub the shit out of Top Gun for that 3D release. The grain is all there and it's beautiful and glorious 3D. It looks just like an old 3D movie should, right? I don't expect it to look any different than that. And that was converted, for fuck's sake. And that actually probably looks better than some of the movies. Like I just watched Jaws 3D last night. Had a fucking headache afterwards. This is one of the reasons why when people argue about should it be shot in 3D or converted later, I usually make an argument for converted later. And I'll tell you why, because the technology has gotten so far now that they can do a really good job with the conversion after the fact, and then it doesn't fuck with your focal point. The reason people get sick is between shots when they use an actual 3D lens, your focal point changes so much that's why people get sick. So when they actually are doing it themselves after the fact, you can constantly at least make the focal point be normally in the center so that people's eyes and their focal point aren't going all over the fucking place and you're getting woozy. Because that's the problem. I was starting to get woozy watching Jaws 3 because it's one of the most horribly shot 3D films ever made. But anyway, yeah. And again, so in this respect, like, I don't know what James is thinking of.
He's James Cameron. He's the auteur. He's the one that always bet on James Cameron.
James Cameron. Okay.
He's due to be wrong. That's what I keep saying at this point.
Yeah, it's going to happen.
I think it passed him by. And in fact, we had a comment here from earlier that I starred from Hunter Dvork, who said, no, that's not the right one. This is the one. Gabriel Knight sent a super chat. Sorry. Why is James Cameron such a salty old grump these days? I'll be honest with you. I think he is so far removed from this shit and he's getting a lot of resistance and he doesn't understand why. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah. I think maybe it's like he's been told he's the greatest for so long that he just doesn't think he can do no wrong.
There's that part of it, but like now he's coming back to this and he's going, well, I'm going to do this high frame rate 3D shit. And everybody's like, yeah, Jimmy, that didn't work before.
Yeah.
I think Avatar 2 might bring it back down to earth.
I hope so. I mean, in a
Yeah.
sense, I mean, don't get me wrong. I do hope it's good for the fans. I mean, I guess, but at the same time, I'm at this point where I think
It's not going to do $2.5 billion.
no, I think this is going to be a wake up call for him, and I think that's part of the reason he's grumpy is because I don't think this movie's tracking nearly as well as he was hoping.
No.
Yeah.
Because if you read his interviews and
13
shit, yeah.
years is too long. This should have been out 2012, 2013, that kind of thing.
Because he comes off very defensive. That's for sure.
And he's doing like 4 of them. Isn't he done like 4 of them at one time?
Well, that's the other reason why I wonder if he's not so pissy.
He did 2 and 3. Now I don't think they've started on 4
That's
to 5.
the things I don't know if they've committed to the rest yet.
The
That's
idea was that
reason.
he would get to 5, but I can't. This film is going to come in. People are like, well, it's got a $250 million budget. I'm like, yeah, no, it doesn't. This thing's going to come in north of 300. I promise you that. Because he's been working on this so long, he's sunk so much of his own money into it. You got studio money into it. I said it a few weeks ago. I do not see Avatar 2 beating Top Gun Maverick, at least not domestically.
Yeah,
I do not see it because Top Gun Maverick is going to finish its run somewhere close to $700 million at this point.
that's crazy. I mean, I was never a fan of Avatar, and I just can't see that.
Well, and A.B. James seems to disagree with us. Says 13 years, Top Maverick just proved that notion wrong. That could be true.
Yeah.
Well, but here's the thing, though. You're not wrong, A.B. It's the issue of, and I think we talked about this before on some of the other Midnight's Edge shows. The issue with Avatar, the first one, part of the reason that it was such a massive blowout globally was that nothing like that had ever been done before. Visually, nothing like that. The story itself was okay. It wasn't great. It was okay.
It wasn't groundbreaking in any
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
The story
It was
wasn't.
the visuals and the way it was being presented to us.
Exactly.
And
that
that's
is
what my
now
arg-
old
yeah.
hat. That is
Exactly,
every
yep.
MCU film now. That is every movie that comes out.
That was what I said, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the nostalgia or the wow factor, I guess is a better word. The wow factor of it is kind of worn off. Now, unless it, and again, it's a little early to tell. Now, this thing might come out and people might go, "Oh my God, the movie was tremendous.
You could be right.
The story
It
was
could get $2
fabulous."
billion, yeah.
And that's it. Now, if people come out and say that the story is a masterpiece, and people really love it, and they go back to see it 4 and 5 and 6 times like they did the first one, then it's going to have a hell of a run. But short of that, because I can't see it. I think globally it will be Top Gun Maverick, but not domestically.
The other issue you have here is this, and this is why I say A.B. James. He could be right, but at the same time, I'm more on the field of thinking where I'm at is because of all the things Valliant just said, which I pointed out earlier too. And the other side of this, Top Gun had a different thing going for it.
Yep.
The age helped it, right? Like the fact that it's been 35 years since the original. You had people going to the theater who normally don't go to movies. That was something that took them by surprise. Is you had a lot of 40, 50 upper age men and women.
Oh, the 60-year-olds were showing up in droves.
Exactly. I mean, normally there is an elderly set that goes to the theater. That part I will acknowledge, but there's that 40, 50, 60-year-old range that doesn't go very often, right?
No.
And those guys got out to the theater to go see Top Gun. Yeah. I don't think Avatar's going to do that.
Nope.
See, those same people that was probably the last time those same people who went to see Top Gun got their asses out to see a movie was the original Avatar. And I highly doubt they're going to get out for the second one.
Yeah. The big portion of the audiences for Avatar are going to sit there and wonder and go, is it going to be on Netflix next week?
Yeah.
I mean, that's the audience you're dealing with for this. And
Top Gun was one of those, like when we talk about lightning in a bottle, like that's more than lightning in a bottle. It was like lightning in a thimble.
Yeah.
Like your chances of capturing that again are so fucking. And that's what every time everybody asks about, what about Top Gun 3? I'm like, if I were them, I wouldn't rush it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wouldn't rush right
that.
into this. This is not like Ghostbusters. This is not something you can build a franchise off of like that.
No, Maverick worked because it was a very simple film. It was very well written. Everybody universally loved it. They treated the original characters with complete respect. They built a great story around that. They didn't screw anything up, and they gave you 2 hours of high adrenaline practical effects in camera. Like it was, Avatar is going to be all green screen, like every Marvel movie, and that's I think what people are kind of getting tired of. And it kind of goes to what we talk about here on 4K for you, because that's why, the best things that come out on 4K are the ones that are exquisitely remastered from old film stock, or at least movies that did not have a plethora of post-production green screen CGI BS, right? Because it just doesn't look the same. It doesn't give you the same. But people have gotten very acute to if they're looking at something that really is going on in camera, or if, well, they just shot this on wires in a big green screen room. And even though people don't, they're not all cognizant of it, immediately, their brain kind of knows that, well, this isn't real. This is fake. You watch Top Gun, it's like, no, he's in that jet. No, that jet is doing that. No, they're really in the sky. No, this is going on. And I think that was a big part of the reason for that.
And the timing. The timing's a big thing. Like, I'm not so sure the timing's ready for this yet. I mean, if you want to really go down that road. But Joseph Valencia, you could be right here, 2 points out. What Top Gun 2 did for boomers, Avatar 2 will do for zoomers. You could be right. Problem is, zoomers don't have no money. And they don't go to movies.
Could it happen? Absolutely, Joseph. Is it likely at this point? The trends
most of them will just download
it. Yeah. It's like when somebody said they'll be watching it on their phone. So much for high frame rate.
But like I said, I think Avatar will do well globally, but I don't think it's going to be Top Gun domestically.
I think that the litmus test is going to be how we'll see how the re-release of the original film does.
Yeah,
we'll test the grounds with that. We'll see. At that point, I think then people can gloat a little bit one way or the other. But until then, it's kind of a Schrodinger's cat kind of thing. We got a couple questions and super chats here. Let's get to Hunter Dvork wants to know when we will get a 4K of the Superman 2 Donner cut. Probably never.
Yeah.
And the reason I say that is because it was mastered in 1080p. All the effects were done in 1080p. Unless they go in and redo all the CGI effects they did for the Donner cut, there's no way. And then, of course, this is also assuming that they eventually do a 4K scan of Superman 2.
Well, I was going to say, the most likely thing, Hunter, is that if you see one, there's a better than average chance, 80% chance, it's just going to be a simple upconvert of what already is there.
Here's my prediction. We will get Superman 2 on Blu-ray, because we haven't even, or on 4K. Because we've only gotten the first film on 4K, and it's only the theatrical cut. We'll only get the theatrical cut of Superman 2 on 4K. But what it'll do is they'll just throw in the Blu-ray of the Donner cut.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because that's kind of what they did with the Superman 4K. They threw in the extended, I can't remember if it was the extended cut or the TV edition in there with it.
I think it's the extended cut, not the TV
one of
edition.
the two, I can't remember. But yeah, like I have so many different versions of it, I can't keep them straight.
Same here.
So that would be my guess on that one. That's the best answer I could come up with, so I wouldn't expect it anytime soon. And yeah, we got this one already, so I got that. Cedar Stuff says Cameron came up from deep sea diving too quickly. This, Cedar Stuff, he has spent a lot of time underwater.
Yeah.
Maybe his brain has been compressed.
Could be.
Oh, he's got the bends.
Hitchhiker 42 says, "Can you imagine a Dolby Atmos mix for Alien special?" Oh, that would be fucking. Especially the scene where there's a whole bunch of them on the ceiling. I could just hear it.
Oh yeah,
using the upper.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
The sound of them crawling.
Yeah,
he's just got look. He just needs to sign off on it and say, "Here, do it. Somebody do it," because he's never going to sit down and get this done.
He's not going to be happy with the grain in that one, though. Have you seen that movie anytime soon?
Yeah, that's why somebody just needs to not let him. You know what, James?
Smudge it.
We got this.
Yeah, let's alleviate some power to the people doing the scans.
Yeah, he will smudge the shit out of that one if you let him.
Oh god.
And then Hung Chu, if I'm saying that right, is curious about Lethal Weapon or Demolition Man. Now, I've not heard about either of them in the hopper. Although there's been some rumblings about Lethal Weapons. So, and those are like kind of a no-brainer. Eventually, Warner will release those. When is the next anniversary? That's this year for the first film. I can't believe they didn't announce it for this year.
I was going to say, speaking of which, I just did see Zavvi is releasing a Lethal Weapon Stillbook.
Yeah, and I think they're holding off for Lethal Weapon 5.
Yeah.
Because I believe Mel Gibson is supposed to be directing, and they're moving forward with Lethal Weapon 5, so they might just hold off for that. That would be my guess if they're not planning some kind of, because I can't believe they didn't do an anniversary release at least for the first film.
Yeah, you would think.
Because those are pretty big movies for Warner Brothers. So, I gotta imagine sometime soon. Um, but other than that, we've pretty much covered all the basics. Was there any new movies or anything Valiant that you've watched lately that you want to talk about, or anything quick before we go?
Um, I did get Everything Everywhere All at Once on 4K.
And what did you think?
I loved it. It's a great movie. I wish I had seen it when it was still in the theater by me.
So you didn't have the issues with the ending like I did.
No, I mean, look. This is one of those films. This was made on a very small budget, kind of independent film. This was an A24 release, which are putting out some darn good movies. And that's what Hollywood needs. They need studios like this, distributors like this that can put out some really good stuff that's getting some
I just
traction.
personally felt like the message got a little muddied at the end. But outside of that, I enjoyed it quite a bit.
Yeah, maybe. But no, I enjoyed the hell out of it. But the 4K release is really pretty. This is a movie that was shot and processed start to finish in 4K, but my understanding. Because, again, the special effects were there, but they were relatively minimal. It was enough to where I think this film was easily processed. So that the end result on the
There's a
physical
great
media-
mix between digital and physical effects.
Yes, and it's very, very seamless, to be honest, especially compared to a lot of other things that come out these days. But I was really impressed with it. I loved it. Probably going to try to watch it again over the weekend when I can just because I went in. I had to watch it over the course of like 2 days because something came up in the middle of watching. I had to stop it, got involved in some family stuff, and then like next day I went back. So I'm going to try to sit down this weekend and go through it start to finish. In my nice setup, but otherwise I really enjoyed
I
it.
did enjoy it. It was just that, again, because I don't want to get into any kind of spoilers, but there's just that last, I want to say 10, 15 minutes where we kind of get keyed into what the whole thing's about.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, it just kind of dwells on that a little bit too much. And it goes into woke territory, let's say. And I think it kind of mixes its message a little bit at the end. And I've tried to interpret it myself, but again, I enjoyed it though. I don't want to make anybody think that like I didn't like it or that it's not worth checking out, because it's definitely like a reference quality 4K Blu-ray.
Yeah, gotcha.
Yeah, cool. I haven't yet to see it yet, but it's on my list of things to watch. I've watched a few things myself this week that I'll talk about tonight on my show that I bring up. And with all the talk of Top Gun and everything, I actually watched Hot Shots with Charlie Sheen the other day. And I love that movie, man. It was so good.
I just imported those two on Blu-ray.
I know. I was thinking about doing that myself after I watched, because I watched it on HBO Max. I know it's physical media, but I don't have it doesn't have a US Blu-ray release. So
no, it doesn't. And I don't think Fox is going to get on that anytime soon with being owned by Disney now.
No. But yeah, it was hilarious, and it's just the jokes in that and the cast. It was a good time. So I got that, and I watched a couple movies that I'll share with everybody tonight on my channel.
Cool. All right.
Yeah.
And me personally, this week I watched some of these I'm going to talk about later, of course, on Greg's show. But I did see the Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent in 4K. I got.
I want to see that.
Me too.
This was one of the surprises of this year so far, and of course it's one of those Lionsgate Steel.
Oh, I like that.
I didn't realize it was even out yet. Okay.
Yeah, it's been out now for about 2-3 weeks. But no, it was very funny, very fucking funny, very.
Everybody I've heard talk about it has nothing but good stuff to say.
How do I put this? It's semi-ish predictable once you get to a point, but it's one of those movies that it does what you want it to do on purpose, right? Like it's very entertaining, very refreshing to see. I was expecting something more along the lines of like being John Malkovich, but it's not.
Mm-hmm.
It has aspects of that in it. Don't get me wrong, and it definitely has that art house feel to it. But it's a lot of fun. It has a lot of fun with Nick Cage. You can tell he's just relishing playing this version of himself, or versions of himself, I should say.
Yeah.
Not to get too much away. And Pedro Pascal's really good in it. The rest of the cast is really good at it. The storyline is pretty simple. I'm not going to give too much of it away, but if you don't know it already, Nicolas Cage plays a version of himself who's wrapped up in himself 24/7, more worried about himself than anything else, his image, and it kind of plays with the fact that he'll do just about any movie, right?
Right.
And so in the start, we get this idea that he's a shit father, shitty ex-husband. His career's starting to fade. He's starting to get old. He's not the movie star he used to be. And his agent, played brilliantly by Doogie Howser. He only has a couple bits in it, but he's great. I love Neil Patrick Harris. He's great in everything he does. But so he tells him this offer he has to go to this birthday party. I think it's in South America, if I'm not mistaken. Can't remember the exact place, but anyway, doesn't matter. It's for $1 million for one night, and he's like, "No, I ain't gonna do that kind of shit." Well, then he changes his mind, of course, and you can kind of go from there. And I'm not going to tell you any more than that because it just keeps building and building and building and building and building on things, and I don't want to give too much of the fun away because part of the movie's experience is just how deep it keeps going into the absurdity of what's going on around Nicolas Cage and what he's dealing with, and just who he is in this version of his character and stuff. And it's brilliant. It was brilliant. It's one of the best films of the year. So that's all I can say on that.
That's awesome.
Hope you get a chance to check it out. Both of y'all probably love it.
Yeah, I know it. I've been looking forward to that one.
I think you'll really get a kick out of it, Valiant.
Yeah, I want to check it out.
Yeah. I've been hearing some weird rumors on that, but I don't think I think he's playing a different part in the show or something, like I heard, but I don't know. That'd be interesting if they did have him be a doctor. But yeah, with that, I think we're wrapped up, and I don't want to keep you guys any longer than we already have, because I know you probably have a lot of work to do. So yeah, thank you so much for being here today, you guys, listening in the chat, and of course, Greg and Valiant for helping me get through this. Is there anything going on that you want to plug, Valiant?
Well, let's see. I put out a video this morning kind of doing a bit of a box office financial retrospective on Marvel Phase 4. And, trying to retweak the YouTube algorithms after being off for like a week. So, of course, they hate me right now again. So doing that. And then I'm going to be recording a video later this evening that will be out probably tomorrow with WDW Pro. He's got some news on this whole Disney, Hulu political ads. We're going to talk about that. He and I have been talking the last couple of days, so we're going to do something tonight on that one that'll be out in the next day or two. Cool.
Awesome sauce. And Hitchhiker 42, I don't know if it's coming out next week. I know it's coming soon. Did we hear something about this got pushed back just a little bit, if I'm not mistaken? Is this one of the ones?
Wait, so it was,
Edge of Tomorrow, the Tom Cruise one?
Wait, is in the UK? I have it. It's sitting on my desk right here.
No, I know, but I heard something about the UK version now that.
Yeah, I don't remember.
I don't know. I didn't look. I just when it came out, I'm like,
well, if we got it here in the US, then then it might still be on. Yeah, I think it's supposed to be coming out Tuesday, August 1st. Yep, it's still set for August 1st. So
there we go.
There you go. So yeah, I think it was like a week or two out from the U.S. version is all.
I can tell you in 2 weeks from now, we're gonna be talking about August 9th when I get my copy.
Remind me again what's coming.
Of Event Horizon.
Oh, that's right.
Yes.
I will probably stay up really, really freaking late that night watching it twice at least, and my whole family is going to be pissed at me because I am not turning the volume down.
I have the Shout Factory release of that. I think that has the VHS rip of the extended cut. I'll have to look. I can't remember if they found that or not.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, that's a good movie. I haven't seen that in years. I plan on watching that myself.
Well, I've got the digital version in 4K. I've got the Shout Blu-ray.
I'm a big Event Horizon fan. So
I know. I think I pre-ordered the Steelbook too. But
what do you think about it possibly being an unofficial sequel to The Black Hole from Disney?
Sure.
I have heard that, and I'm like, okay, I like it. I'm like, I'm good.
Is it Paramount or is that a? Yeah, it's a Paramount title, ain't it?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I was gonna say I thought that was Miramax for a second. I'm like, no, never mind. It was Paramount, but yeah. All right. Well, let's wrap this up. Thank you so much, Greg. You got your show later on. Anything else you want to plug besides that?
I just dropped a video on my channel about an hour or two ago about Stranger Things being retroactively edited and why physical media is important. Because if you have the physical media Blu-rays of that season, of the first season, that's the original way they dropped it. Now it's been edited on Netflix. So I did that, and then my show tonight.
What the hell did they edit? Oh, I gotta watch the video now. I don't
Yeah, we actually talked a little bit about this morning. They did fix like some minor like things that needed to be fixed. I guess that wasn't such a big deal, but the thing they did do is they cut out a few things, right, Greg?
Yeah, they cut out Jonathan. Apparently, they cut out Jonathan taking pictures of Nancy in the first season when she's with Steve, as not to portray him as a creep. So.
Oh, come on.
And some other stuff. So if you have the Blu-rays or the 4Ks of season 1, you got that, and probably season 2 because they messed up Will's birthday in season 4. So
yeah, I heard something about that. They just had Winona Ryder do some ADR, but Uncle Remus is saying that Deadline says the Stranger Things story is false. You might want to check into that, Greg. You might have to do an update.
I will. If it is, I will correct my video too, because
do an update or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's get our asses out of here. Thank you so much, everybody, for hanging around today. We appreciate it. And don't forget, physical media rules. If anything, even if it's true or not, we constantly are taught almost on a daily basis that physical is king. So thank you so much, everybody, for being here today. We appreciate it.
Well.